Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story about our planet. And honestly, it's a story you're already starring in. We're going to explore how modern technology and transportation are totally collapsing distance and time, effectively making our world feel a whole lot smaller. Because whether you realize it or not, your daily life, from the food you eat for dinner to the messages you're firing off on your phone right now, is a crucial piece of this incredible shrinking world.
But let's just address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Is the physical world actually shrinking? Well, if you spin a globe, obviously the continents haven't magically moved closer together. The thousands of miles separating Cairo and London, or Tokyo and New York, are exactly the same today as they were 100 years ago. So what on earth do we mean when we say the world is shrinking?
The magic word here is globalization. The actual physical mileage hasn't budged an inch, but globalization means the time it takes to cross those miles, whether you're moving cargo, spreading ideas, or traveling yourself, has been drastically reduced. I mean, think about it. Historically, humanity relied on horses and slow steamships. Today, we've swapped those out for roaring jet aircraft and these massive container ships. The old telephones and clunky fax machines have been completely replaced by lightning-fast cell networks and the internet. Our world feels smaller simply because we are connected at absolute lightning speed.
Section 1. Connecting at light speed. Let's look at the personal, everyday level of this shrinking world. It's all about this invisible web constantly humming all around us. On one hand, you've got your local area networks, or LANs. These connect computers across a small contained area, like your house or your school, letting us share local information and equipment. But then you have wide area networks, or WANs, and these span over huge areas, cities, or even entire countries. It's the tech that lets a multinational company seamlessly connect its global offices or allows you to pull cash from an ATM literally anywhere. Tie all of those together globally and boom, you've got the internet.
And it's wild how these networks completely reshape a single person's daily routine. Take a teenager in Cairo named Maggie, for instance. She uses these different networks to keep up deep, meaningful relationships across thousands of miles. She texts her sister over in Alexandria every single day. She's hopping on webcams for evening video calls with her brother who's away at university in London. She even keeps up with her cousin's family vlog all the way from Canada. And just to show that not everything has to be digital, she still absolutely loves getting physical letters in the mail from her grandparents over in Jordan. Through technology, Maggie has effectively turned the entire globe into her own personal living room.
Section 2. The future of travel. It's not just data moving at the speed of light. Our physical transportation is undergoing a massive revolution. Picture this, 1,800 kilometers per hour. Right now, your standard commercial jet cruises at around 900 kilometers per hour, but we are staring down a future of supersonic jets reaching speeds faster than sound. Now, we did have supersonic passenger planes in the past, but they were grounded back in 2003, mostly because they were just too expensive to run. Experts, though, believe they are making a comeback, and getting these back in the air would literally cut the flight time between New York and London right in half.
Then, there's the future of trains, 600 kilometers per hour. That staggering number belongs to the Japanese maglev train. Now, Japan is already legendary for its rail system, but this is a totally next-level $55 billion project designed to practically rocket across the Japanese countryside. And get this, about 8% of its 286-kilometer route will actually run underground, tunneling right beneath houses and mountains. It's going to connect Tokyo and Nagoya in a mere 40 minutes, which, crazily enough, is actually faster than flying between those two cities.
And speaking of unbelievable travel times, 46 minutes to get from Riyadh to Jeddah. That's the ultimate goal of the Virgin Hyperloop project. The whole idea here is to shoot passengers through underground vacuum tunnels at airplane speeds. And because the entire system is designed to be 100% electric, it promises to cut down on air pollution while being faster than modern trains and safer than driving a car. The way we physically move across our planet is being completely redefined from the ground up.
Section 3. The local cost. As we zoom across the globe in supersonic jets and hyperloops, we really have to look objectively at what happens when these massive global forces crash into local traditions.
And you know, this friction creates quite a debate. Let's look at two completely different but totally valid perspectives. On one hand, you have Samir. He points out that globalization ultimately brings people together. When huge multinational companies move into a new area, they create jobs, the local economy gets a boost, and maybe most importantly, this massive network allows nations to actually team up to fight global threats like climate change. But then you have Brooke, who offers a very different take. She argues that people can feel incredibly uneasy as the unique local cultures are watered down or lost entirely. She also points out that multinationals sometimes just exploit regions for low wages and is just not a fair fight for small, local mom-and-pop businesses who inevitably lose out to these giant global corporations.
You can see this tension perfectly when you look at indigenous communities, like the Yagua people in the Peruvian Amazon. Their history with outside global forces has been, frankly, devastating. Back in the early 1900s, Europeans arrived looking for rubber, which led to stolen land and the introduction of deadly diseases. Today, their biggest threat is outsiders illegally logging the rainforest. But, in this really fascinating twist, the Yagua now partially rely on global environmental groups for their survival. Back in 2018, this global cooperation actually helped establish the Yagua National Park, protecting 8,550 square kilometers of their ancestral land. So now, the Yagua can maintain their traditional hunting and fishing practices, while also earning a living through global tourism. It's a highly complex, double-edged sword.
Section 4. The avocado problem. Let's see how this global friction shows up in a totally everyday issue you might find sitting right on your dinner plate. Let's trace the steps of what we can call the avocado problem. Step 1. Thanks to global diet trends, avocados become a massively popular superfood. Step 2. This is seemingly awesome for farmers in places like Peru, who grow them and ship them internationally, bringing a ton of much-needed profit into their local economy. But then, look at steps 3 and 4. All those avocados have to be flown and shipped across the world on jets and massive container ships, burning huge amounts of fuel and creating serious air pollution. And the most ironic part, because global demand is so intensely high, the avocados become way too expensive for the local Peruvian communities to actually buy for themselves.
We're seeing a very similar cultural shift happening thanks to multinational fast food companies. Just look at a recent trend in Japan. Yes, globalization means we all have access to this fantastic, diverse variety of international foods, but traditional diets are often the casualty. A lot of Japanese school children today actually prefer international fast food, we're talking burgers and pizza, over traditional, highly nutritious Japanese dishes like sushi. It really makes you stop and wonder, are we training away our local health and cultural heritage just for global convenience?
Section 5. Balancing our global village. This brings us to the final crossroads of our explainer.
There's a really powerful quote that sums this up. We must be careful to choose wisely and not to ignore local foods and therefore lose our own cultural food traditions. As we navigate this incredibly fast-paced, hyper-connected era, whether we're deciding what to eat for lunch, which local shops to support, or what digital networks we plug into, it is absolutely vital to remember that our daily mundane choices actually matter. They are what shapes whether we preserve or lose the unique, beautiful cultures that make our world so interesting to begin with.
So, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. As we inevitably continue to develop 1,800-kilometer-per-hour supersonic planes, as our digital networks become even faster, and as these massive multinational companies reach deeper into our daily lives, how much smaller can we shrink the world before we completely lose what makes our local communities special in the first place? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning things, keep learning, and pay attention to that shrinking world right outside your window.